Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Sophia, and today we'll be talking about Kritika Nakshatra. Kritika is a very interesting nakshatra as well. First, what we have to understand is that each nakshatra flows seamlessly into the other one. So one story is not completely detached from the other. Okay. So let's start by understanding that the location of this nakshatra is 26 degrees 40 minutes of Aries, and then it moves into Taurus and ends in 10 degrees of Taurus. So after the overlords has sort of perfected Kundalini energy with Bharini nakshatra, if you believe in overlords, they released it into the universe. A new sort of energy was born. Far into the cosmos, two very different kinds of stars exist. One of them is Algol. It is the most feared star in our galaxy, notorious for its reputation as the murder capital of the Milky Way. So it's not an easy energy by any means. And then we've got Alcyone. However, it is very, very benevolent, belonging to the savior clans of our neighborhood, the Pleiades. In the Vedas, Lord Kartikeya is the god of war and beauty. Very odd, because there's nothing beautiful about war. And yet, in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna happily led his friends into warfare, the echoes of which still reverberate through the pages of spiritual history. Act first and think later was his philosophy. We have made an art of war with hues of tragedy and beauty spread thinly across the canvas. A great sage once said that enlightenment can be achieved by being either the purest light or the darkest void. There is no middle path. This violent nakshatra holds many secrets, because what else do we know is violent? Destruction is the first rule of creation. Some of the most poisonous plants and animals are the most attractive to the human eye. There are many things in nature that will kill you, and yet in homeopathic medicine, you are microdosed with poisons 3 times a day so that your body can heal. Characteristics of Kritika natives is something to really watch because of these two massively different stars. So Kritika toes a fine line between two worlds. This nakshatra is ruled by the sun, and the element is fire. If you haven't guessed already, natives of this nakshatra are beautiful, but in a really cutting sort of way. Their charm is inescapable. They possess sharp intellect, which when expressed, spreads like wildfire. They have a massive appetite for knowledge. Natives of these stars have pride, and they can become really popular as well. They enjoy very healthy bodies, they like keeping fit, and are highly competitive and ambitious. They can be impulsive with a big ego as well, so that's also something to watch for. Aggression and passion define their actions, often starting with their speech. They are fast talkers, so they can jump head first as well into a fire. Act first, think later is their motto. Firefighters, military personnel can be good professions for such natives. They're often quick to criticize when they see something is not right, and their words can cut like blades. That is one of the symbolism of Kritika Nakshatra is a blade. People often avoid Kritika Nakshatra natives for fear of being told off. The truth, their version of truth, tends to rage like a wildfire around them. But this nakshatra has a lot of deeper dimensions. First of all, it's a rajasic in nature, which means it's highly active, has lots of passion, and it's got a rakshasa guna. So demonic qualities can rear their ugly heads, especially under threat. But knives can be useful if applied correctly. When they develop compassion for people, they will dedicate their entire lives to their cause. Everyone needs a friend from this nakshatra because they will go to battle for you. They will look out for you when you are lost. They will tell you off when you've gone off the deep end. So be ready for reality as it is with these beings. The element of this nakshatra is fire. Fire can burn, but it also generates a lot of heat. Fire within the body is represented by our digestive system. And we all know that the digestive process is tricky balance between health and illness. Just like fire burns away all impurities, the Kritika natives are highly intolerant of imperfection, projecting tough exteriors with an underlying softness that is hard to detect. Women of this nakshatra often bear the brunt of responsibility within their families and get the task done. But these natives can have a tricky relationship with karma. They can either use their powers for good or use it for evil. Whatever they must choose becomes their blessing or their burden in the next nakshatra that follows. Because remember, no nakshatra is independent of the other. It is a zodiac cycle that bleeds into each other. These natives are also very straight in terms of talking, very straight talkers, so they tell the truth, because unbridled power doesn't always account for consequences, and that is where they get in trouble as well. There are some interesting celestial influences that make up the energy of Kritika. It is said that when the Vedas were being written, the moon was in Kritika Nakshatra. The moon is exalted in this nakshatra, but specifically within the Taurus side of this constellation, not the Aries. So the moon being in Kritika Nakshatra when the Vedas were being written tells us quite a lot. Because the symbolism of Kritika is the blade. It's very good at dividing, cutting through the sky. So it divided through the sky and we have the knowledge of astrology the way that we do now, because we were able to see the divisions very clearly. The moon has a nurturing, healing, and sustaining nature. When combined with the element of fire, something incredible happens. A highly sexual side to these natives emerge. Within the Aries part of the sky, these natives are more Algol than Alcyone. They fight, act fast, and can draw attention to themselves. They also make for formidable leaders. In the Taurus part of the sky, things get a bit complex. Taurus is ruled by Venus. The moon's qualities manifest better here. Natives go after power to grow a legacy. They can be hard workers and often use work as an escape. They can gain affluence through business. But the confusion of Mars and Venus energies brings with them some jealousy and also underhandedness to their approach. When there are such strict morals in the skies, Kritikans can feel like misunderstood creatures. So they shrink into themselves, allowing a very select group of people into their orbit. They like to observe people, but with a tight grip on protecting their own identities. Identities is a big part of Aries, which can lead to a sense of frustration Anger management is an important remedy if they don't want to burn their bridges, because both Algol and Alcyone beings can be hot-headed. Let's talk about Algol and Alcyone a little bit separately to understand the energies better. Algol is known as the Dark Void. It's a star located in the constellation of Perseus. It is the darkest void of energy where demons thrive. Beings from the star foster war, murder, rape, torture, killing for sport, and violence in all forms. Some even inconceivable to our little brains. Shall I go on? This star is a void that sucks in the light and morphs it into something we'd call really ugly. There is suffering, pain, and so much loss. This is not a place for oppression. This is not a place for reconciliation. You do not tell stories about Algol to kids at bedtime. If you are connected with Algol's energy in any way, be sure that your inner darkness will want to roam free. And yet, there is a place for anyone to find privilege here. Because with all this destruction comes a sense of power. This is where one can go from pauper to prince. Look at how royalty emerged in our world. We all know what is involved in conquering anyone or anything. Kritika is symbolized by a sharp blade. It cuts away anything that doesn't serve its purpose. And yet, there is enlightenment budding at the edges of that infested pond. You cannot know light without the dark. The universe is built on both forces keeping each other in check. Yin meets yang and they chase each other's tails for eternity. We must all meet our inner demons at some point, whether in this life or the next, so get ready. Many of us have contemplated all that Algol represents even without ever acting upon it. Because society wouldn't sanction murder even if it was to protect someone we loved. But at Algol, beings wouldn't even blink an eye. Who is to police you when there is none? I paraphrase Friedrich Nietzsche, the great German philosopher who said that morality is a trait of the weak-minded that chokes off a genuine human achievement. This is what anyone from Algol would think. Now let's talk about Alcyone, known as the Paradise. Alcyone is the central star of our beloved Pleiades. And who doesn't love the Pleiades on planet Earth? Home to the Seven Sisters, this is mankind's oldest story that dates back 100,000 years in time. In myths around the world, the Pleiadians are refugees of the ancient Lyran-Draco wars. They were the wives of the Saptarishis, or the seven sages, who were the ultimate devotees of Lord Shiva. The sisters fostered Lord Kartikeya, the son of Lord Shiva, and fought hard to protect him. They're motherly figures, but highly aggressive when it comes to protecting others. Single and/or foster parents are often seen, with Kritika, Nakshatra prominent in people's charts. In other tales, they were the daughters of Titan Atlas, who wanted to protect his daughters from the great hunter of the skies, Orion. Over eons, many wars have been fought in Orion. The Pleiadian beings have tried to assist with ending the wars. As a result of their misplaced benevolence, Pleiadians had one of their stars annihilated by the Orion militia. This is why we only see 6 stars in the sky today, as opposed to 7. But who are the Pleiadians? It is believed that these beings from the Pleiades have been assisting Earth's evolution for eons, with the highest compassion for mankind. It is also said that Alcyone may be our great central sun, meaning it could be a binary star of our solar system. We may just belong to each other. Pleiadians are highly sought after beings throughout the cosmos. They're stunningly beautiful creatures who only fight to protect. Their intelligence is sharper than blades. The planets are affluent, and they have high manifestation powers. They're refugees of many wars fought in the skies, so their compassion for others is infinite. But they accept no shadows. This is where it gets spiritually complex. And this is also where Lord Kartikeya takes his highest expression of the god of war and beauty to really, really opposing forces. The crux to the spirituality of a Kritika native lies in the triggering of their Kundalini energy, which lies dormant at the very base of their spine. When the fire of Kundalini takes hold, it runs unbridled. It is well known that the warfare leads to a trail of dead bodies. Women, children, or anyone weak enough to be left behind will in fact be cut loose. Natives of this nakshatra can experience loss of legacy, separation, divorce, and emancipation. As I said earlier, many single parents are born of this configuration. But here's the irony. Sometimes the very thing that protects us often also punishes us. The sharpness of this energy is conducive for intellect but not for love. Yet natives often act first and think later. Now, why on earth would Lord Krishna preach something so reckless in the Gita? After all, thoughtless action is foolish. Krishna's primary quality is sustenance of the universe. If we do not have enough action takers, the simulation falls apart. So, Krishna is quite intelligent in suggesting something like that. Because he knows karma equals creation, and creation equals more karma. This is also where matters get deeply spiritual. As quoted earlier, enlightenment is not a balancing act in murky grey waters. In fact, it is blindingly black and white. This is where natives of Algol and Alcyone win big. Because we live in a Rajasic universe where subatomic particles experience an uninterrupted flow of energy. So black and white factions are rare. Shockingly enough, Algol is closer to enlightenment than Alcyone, if you can believe it. Pleiadians, on the other hand, have had their feet wedged between two doors of free play and light. Not being able to accept their shadow really hurt their spirituality in the past. Unless other combinations support the chart, a prominent Kritika Taurus native will struggle with the balance of sustainability. And this is where we talk about their ultimate spiritual secret. Combination of the extremes of the energies of the two stars makes for an interesting resolution indeed. If a native was able to join forces with Algol and Alcyone, they'd be able to achieve something really quickly. And what is that? It's invincibility. Because the combination and the combined force of dark and light will give birth to the expressions of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, also known as the Trinity of creation, sustenance, and destruction, all in one nakshatra alone. This is the sort of power associated with Kritika. So I really hope that you enjoyed this podcast today. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.